Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
All right, HG Thrash Clothing Company, Howard Thrash since 1989, and he is a pro at the business, I'll tell you that. He is so good. Jeremy's down there with him. They got the new store out on 82nd Quaker in Kingsgate, and the main store at 2010 Broadway Avenue. And y'all would be surprised at how many people he has as customers that aren't in Lubbock, and they just call and say, send me 3 shirts and 2 pair of pants.
Yeah.
Because they know exactly what you want and your size.
Well, I bought some pants and a couple shirts not long ago, and I walked in and 5 minutes later, Jeremy had my size. He had everything picked out.
Here's what you want.
Yeah, here's what you need to wear.
Well, that's really what they tell me.
Yeah.
They accuse me I just wear black and gray. Yeah. That's all I wear.
He says, this is what the latest styles are. And I said, okay.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, I'll take it.
They're good like that.
They are good.
Just go see them, y'all. You'll have fun. You'll enjoy it. It's one of the finest men's stores you'll ever go in. All the way from shoes to accessories to underwear, whatever you need, they've got it. Tuxedos, they can help you there as well. It's an amazing store, and that is HG Thrash Clothing Company. All right, Rick Dykes is here, and we're proud to have him here with us. Former Texas Tech football coach, and boy, it's some great days with you and your daddy. I'm telling you, those were don't you just have the best memories of those years?
You know, I really do, David. We, I don't know. I have more of a sense of accomplishment, I think, now than I did at the time. I didn't really realize what we had accomplished at the time. Yeah. I think with what we had to work with.
Yeah.
You know, that was, to me, Bobby Gleason has said before, and it was true, and I kind of forget about it sometimes. At the time that we were competing, both Texas and Texas A&M were spending more money on football than our men's and women's athletic department
Our whole budget
for men's and women's.
Yeah.
And to be competitive and actually have winning records against A&M our last, in the Big 12 and Baylor and everything that we were able to accomplish, it seems like as time goes on, I kind of appreciate what we were able to do at that time. But we had a great time. We had great players. We had a lot of overachieving kids that weren't highly recruited.
And Rick, that's one of the things that I will always remember about your dad and you guys is you found these kids in these small towns of West Texas and Central Texas and everything, that they weren't the 5 stars, the 2 stars, but when they left Tech, they had a chance to play at the next level. You guys had developed them to the point, and a lot of them came as a quarterback that moved to safety or something, but you guys found those diamonds in the rough in these small towns, and I always will remember that, and I think that's pretty cool. You talk about a sense of accomplishment to see a freshman come in and then leave as an all-conference player.
Well, and too, I tell you what's kind of neat now, as these guys are getting older, these players are, I think they feel the same thing because I've had more players. The older I get, the more times players are contacting me and just say, I had a kid call me a couple of weeks ago and just said thank you. I mean, just thank you and I hadn't heard from him in years. And he was a good player, but not a great player, but he was a good player. Yeah. He said, I really wanted you to know how much I appreciate what y'all did for us. And he actually, he didn't play for me. He played for Doyle Parker, actually.
Oh.
And but anyway, it's been really interesting as time goes on, and I am proud of what we were able to achieve.
Well, and here's the other thing. As Craig and y'all were talking about, the players that you got, these local guys, and y'all had the greatest coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
We did.
I mean, they were fun guys and great guys.
They did, and things were different back then. College football has changed so much, and college athletics. I stay involved at Tech, and I'm on the athletic council there. And so I'm able to see the changes in college athletics, and just the changes that we're going through now compared to the last. And it's happened all of a sudden. I mean, the changes in the last 5 years are just amazing. and it's just a different game. It's a it's a lot more of a business now, and with NIL and everything associated with NIL, and but I think it's lost a little bit of just the goodness and wholesomeness of college football.
Yeah,
it was great to take those kids out there, and those, we spent a lot of time to make sure that those kids got degrees and graduated with something, and I don't know. I know our academic people at Tech do a great job. I mean, I'm surprised how good our graduation rate is in the college football scene now, because these kids are coming in for a year, they're leaving. I mean, it's just amazing. But our academic people are doing a terrific job at Tech, and
That's awesome.
It is. I'm proud of the fact that our GPAs for athletic department has been as high as they've ever been in this kind of world and environment.
Yeah.
So
What's really amazing is, and it's changing as you said, but how many kids got their master's degrees? Because in the old days you got a chance to maybe go to summer school. Now they require you almost to go to summer school, and as a result, there's kids that are leaving here with master's degrees, in their particular field or whatever.
Craig, we actually have a college athlete that's working on his PhD.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I've never heard of that.
Right now?
Yes, right now. And so
crazy.
it's just things have really changed, and which I think is great.
Yeah.
We used to struggle with summer school because we couldn't afford to send
That's right.
guys
That's
to summer
exactly
school.
right.
I mean, that was the only problem we had with summer schools. We really didn't offer it unless you had to have it to get
stay eligible.
Wasn't part of the scholarship.
No, I mean, and we couldn't afford it. You know, I mean, it was just.
That's what's Rick, you just said it. 5 years ago, we didn't have NIL.
No.
I mean, 5 years. That's it.
And I've been asking about that. We made mistakes as the NCAA in college football and college athletics. We were so bound and determined to not make it, to keep the players from getting paid in any way. And that was a bad mistake.
Yeah, it was.
You're
exactly right. I remember the story about Barry Switzer. He's sending some kid home for his mom's funeral and paid for it and gotten all this. He goes, I'm sending him.
They wouldn't have given him that Alston money if it hadn't have been for a court case.
Yeah. And it's our fault.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And we screwed it up.
Yep.
And had they not done that, because now we've gone from one extreme to the other.
You hit it on the head there.
Now we're on the other side of it, which is just crazy. And had we been smart enough to identify that and work through those stages, I don't think we'd be here right now.
Yep.
I think we'd be somewhere in between, which is, I think, would be a great place to be.
Yeah.
I think we're on the extreme now, and I just. With all the stuff going on, and I don't know how I talked to Kirby about this after the meeting, and you just have to circumvent through the mess and do your very best on the legislation that's been approved.
Yeah.
But it's always changing, and there's always court cases that will affect the legislation and you're waiting for those rulings, and I mean it's just.
I'll give Tech a lot of credit. We've got Cody and his group. It wasn't just Cody, but Cody and his group have given us some financial wherewithal that we haven't had in the past. But Kirby and those guys, we were on top of what was coming.
Yes, we were.
I think
we were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we jumped out. We jumped out there, and I think they saw what could happen. Yep. And if it does happen, we need to be here, and they've positioned us to be a leader of the pack, so to speak. And I think money is certainly a factor, but also I think the fact that you as Texas Tech were in the game and ahead of the game, and it's positioned you really well.
Well, I'm biased, and I can say this because he's a really good friend, but there's not a better AD in America than Kirby.
I agree 100%.
So, I mean, I don't know if we appreciate what we have and how lucky we are
so good
to have him. And he has great foresight, and what you said, Craig, is exactly right. He's preparing for the future right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people react, and he doesn't react. He's already one step ahead of the game. And the other thing that you'd be proud of is how much, even in today's atmosphere, we are trying to do for those kids academically. And that is, to me, that is still so very important to us as an athletic department. And, you really don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything else is NIL and money and everything that goes into that. But, 98% of these kids, when they get done playing, they're going to have any other
It's
options.
over.
They're done.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully they have a college degree. And we've done everything from our end to ensure that they will when they graduate.
It's awesome. And you think about Cody Campbell and Dusty Womble and John Sellers and the guy Peterson.
Gary Peterson.
Gary Peterson,
yeah.
There's been some guys really step up and help. But, just Red Raider Nation.
Yeah.
There's people giving money. And, we just don't want 3 or 4 guys running. Everybody needs to be a part of what we're doing.
Well, for a long time, Clemson was always the model school.
Yeah.
And they had the best athletic facilities in college athletics for so long. And their fundraising was, 95% of their fundraising were less than $100.
They have a club called It Pay. I pay $10 a year, I think is what it stands for. Yeah.
Is that right?
And they have like hundreds of thousands of people in this. And that was the way that they funded their facilities and their athletic department for years and years and years. And it wasn't, I'm sure they had some big-time donors as well, but most of their money were made up from the guys that gave $100, $500, $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
And we are seeing more and more of that here at Tech.
Yeah, Red Raider Club's doing a good job.
They are.
Really are doing it.
We have
And
really
retiree
good. I'm telling you, we have great people in the athletic department.
We do.
We do. And we have a great president, Dr. Scuba.
Don't you love that guy?
I do. He's just
he's the best.
He is great, and I'm disappointed that we're going to lose Ted Mitchell.
I almost got him on the show. I actually texted with him, and I texted him. He didn't text with me till this morning at 6:30. And my phone, he goes, David, I'm sorry, but I'm out of town to make keynote speaker at a deal.
Yeah.
I'd love to be on. We were going to try to have him on today.
Rick, you listen to these other athletic directors, and even the head coaches is really where you hear it from. Why is this such a good job? Why did this happen, And they always say, from the president or the chancellor down, we're all aligned. We're all on the same page, and they're trying to achieve the same things. And it must be real important because they talk about it all the time.
Well, I can't tell you how important it is, simply, Craig, because they set the tone for everything. And Dr. Mitchell wants you to be successful, but he's not gonna look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. He allows Kirby to run the athletic department, and Dr. Skuvanek's the same way. They'll support you in every way, but they're not going to. You don't have to call them before you get ready to hire somebody.
Yeah,
and that is so important because that's not like that a lot of places. It's a lot of times those guys are question everything that you're doing, every decision. They're involved in that, and he laughed one time. We were talking about one time, and he said, "I've got plenty to do without having to worry about who we're hiring us." One of the assistant coaches, but I think the world of Ted Mitchell. I hope our new chancellor is half as good as he was, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, he better be better than that because he's a Longhorn.
And you talk about
we're not going to talk about that, are we?
No.
And that's one thing you talk about as far as being aligned. Our board of regents is also right on that same page, and that's why you've got to feel good about. The Board of Regents hires the chancellor, and so I feel like they, felt like
that gives me, that gives me. It's going to be okay, because they're not going to bring in a guy.
No,
it's not going to be Red Raiders, and here we go.
No, you have confidence that they'll make the right decision.
Yeah. So. That's good. Well, let's try to. Hang on a sec here. Let me see. 10:17. That doesn't give us enough time. I want to get Ron on here. We're gonna. Craig found this story and on his phone when they brought Ron in when he was a freshman against Arizona. It's really a great story. He doesn't know we're going to do it. I didn't even tell him we're going to be on. But the other thing we'll do is relive the Zach Thomas interception because it's right here. This is the month. This is it. October the 7th.
Yeah, this is it. So
and you were there.
Yeah, I was.
Well, that was just a couple years ago, though, wasn't it?
It was a couple years ago.
1995?
But honestly, I remember it like it was yesterday.
All right,
I can imagine.
We were going to let you tell that story.
Yeah, okay.
And we wanted Zach
and
here.
I tell you, there's something to that that's really interesting that I'll share that I don't know I've really ever talked about. But there's really the rest of the story. You're going to get the rest of the story.
Big
Paul Harvey.
The rest of the story. See, that'll be great, and we're going to surprise Ron because the date of that game that he came in, Craig, what was it?
October 2nd, I think, yeah.
And Ron Reeves, a freshman at Tech. and I'm telling you, we went nuts. The stadium went nuts. Because you know how they do it. They go, now at quarterback for the Red Raiders, Ron Reeves.
That's
and
just
the
about
place
the head.
just went ballistic.
Yeah.
And he leads us to victory. Yeah. We were behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the story.
It's so good.
It
he
is
talks
good.
about it all the time. Hey, remember when I came in that day? Okay. I'm going to tell him we're going to call him. Yeah, we don't have time to do it now. I'll tell him in 5 minutes we're going to call him. Or thereabouts. All right, this will be fun.
Rick, while we're getting that done and talking about the athletic council and stuff, our facilities are second to none. Our NIL revenue share is on par with anybody. What's next? What do you feel like, in your personal opinion? What has to happen, and which direction do you think we're going? Because there's lots of directions we can go.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that you have to position yourself because there's going to be realignments in conferences.
Okay.
And what we have to do is
right.
It's coming.
Good.
And we have to position ourselves so when that realignment comes, we have options.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have great options.
Yeah.
I really
They
do.
want us. We don't have to go big. And
We don't have to. We don't have to go out and sell ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
I wish we'd have more regional conferences, at least for most of the
I
sports.
think that's coming.
It's coming,
Yeah.
David. It's
We
coming
gotta
because
have
you can't as athletic departments, you can't afford to send your.
USC can't keep going to Wisconsin.
No, they can't.
And we can't send our
Volleyball
team to
to-
BYU.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
And they get back and go to West Virginia.
Well, for academics as well. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that's
gone
right.
for 3 days. You
All right,
can't
here
do
we
that.
go. We'll be right back. Hey, we're going to get Ron Reeves on the phone when we call back.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right, here we go. I will tell you one more time, Q4, everything Texas Tech, everything sports, trophies, whatever you need. The huge shoe department and these caps that we got all lined up here, they came from Q4. And our shirts, and they got Texas Tech gear with the Adidas. That ought to be the place you're going, just outside the loop on Slide Road, South Slide. All right, Rick Dykes is here. We got Ron Reeves. Ron, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Not real good, but Rick Dykes is here. Craig Wells is here. Craig is going to read something to you, and I didn't know if to see if you remembered this, okay?
Okay.
See if you can remember this.
October 2nd, 1978. Late in the first half, scores 14-6, and a freshman quarterback from Lubbock, Monterey, enters the game. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Now at quarterback.
I was like, "Who me?"
They had to go get him. That's you, Ron. Get in there.
Get your helmet.
That was absolute. You know, we were talking about iconic moments at Texas Tech, and I don't know if it's definitely up there one of the all-time great moments at Texas Tech.
47 years ago, Ron.
And the score was, we were behind 14-6.
14-6, and we won 41-26.
And the guy says Ron Reeves came in, threw one pass incomplete, threw another pass incomplete, but he's resilient.
Yep.
Ron Reeves is resilient.
Throws the next one for a touchdown to, I think it was Godfrey, wasn't it?
Godfrey Turner.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a surreal night for sure. It just kind of happened, and the game was over before I really even realized what all had happened. And
I'm still out there.
yeah, it was fun. I had my high school buddies that I played with at Monterey that were up in the stands, and one of the kids was Randy Ledbetter, who his dad was one of the yardage officials, that moved the chains. And so Ledbetter had an extra field pass, and I mean every one of my buddies was getting a little stint with the field pass, running down and slapping me on the shoulder pads, and it was just really a fun moment.
And you never gave up the starting quarterback position after that.
Well, yeah, and that was certainly something that I take pride in. Is also a fact, part of. Really, we weren't very good at recruiting. Worked out good for me, but anyway, yeah, we had a pretty dry run. I mean, that year, '78, we had a good team, and we had quite a few guys that went to the pros, that were juniors and seniors that year. We had a good team, good linemen, good defense. But it went downhill for a while after that.
Well, we just this is also this time of year right here in 1st of October. That was what you did, and then October the 7th was the date that Zach Thomas intercepted the ball against Texas A&M back in 1995. We tried to get Zach on today, but couldn't make it work out. But Rick's here, and Rick is fixing to tell a story. You won't be able to hear it if you're not listening on the radio.
Which he listens to you all the time, David. He told me that.
Oh, who's that?
Yeah, Ron.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he does.
I do.
I tell you what, can you hang on? Do you have enough phone power to hang on? We'll get Rick to tell the Zach Thomas story.
Yeah, I'll just set my phone in. I'm in my truck, so I can put it back on my little charger pad and listen.
All right, good. All right, Rick was there that day. He was coaching.
Yeah, actually I was, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know y'all remember the game, but it was a defensive struggle. It was back and forth, and Corey Pullig was a quarterback at Texas A&M, and a lot of people don't realize the week before Zach had been hurt and hurt his ankle. And so really he hadn't practiced much, so Spike had a rule that if he wanted to play on Saturday, that you had to practice on Thursday, and so the term practice meant a lot of different things for different people. So like practice for Zach was to show up out there and stretch and go through a couple calisthenics and get in a drill and then go back in and start icing again.
Yeah.
But Zach had been coming up in the mornings, and Zach was a great student of the game. Mm-hmm. And John Goodner was a defensive coordinator at the time, and so Zach was showing up in the mornings early. I mean, I was getting, we all got there at 6:30, and the first Monday I pulled up on Monday, Zach his vehicle was there, and he was in the training room getting ice and going through getting all the things done for his ankle to try to reduce the swelling and get back out there, and so it was iffy whether he was going to play or not. But what he did is, he had a monitor brought into the training room, and he was watching A&M tape, and that was the day of the tapes, and he's watching all the tapes on Texas A&M, and so Saturday gets here, and of course, as you would expect from Zach, he's taped up and ready to go.
Yeah,
and the game it's quite a game. It's back and forth, and so A&M gets a ball on their right hash, on the south end of the end zone, and they're at about the 28, 29-yard line. It's crazy. I can remember it almost like it happened yesterday. And it's 3rd and 4, or about 4.5. Really, is closer to 5 yards. And so Zach. So we had two outstanding linebackers. We had another kid from Dallas Carter that I had the privilege to recruit named Sean Banks, and and a great player, great kid, just an outstanding young man and really an outstanding player. And so Sean was the weak side linebacker, and Zach was a strong side linebacker. But on that play, when we ended up with 3rd and 5, the ball was on the right hash. And normally, I'm down looking at offensive plays and trying to get set for the offense to come back out. But I noticed on 3rd and 5 that when we broke the huddle, Zach switched sides with Sean.
Is that
so?
Right?
Zach went to the weak side, and Sean went to the strong side, and so they ran that play. Which at the time,
did they do that on his own?
Yes, Yeah. They when they broke the huddle, they switched sides. Zach switched sides with Sean.
Did he tell him to switch?
Yes, he told him to switch.
Yeah.
And so they ran that play, and that play at the time was called HBO, which is halfback option.
Yeah.
And 5, they did it almost all the time. And Zach had been watching so much film, he knew it.
Yeah.
And that's what set him up for that play. And he was actually not even supposed to be on that side of the field. He was actually supposed to be to the wide side of the field.
So Goodner didn't put him over there.
No.
He put himself
He
over
knew
there.
it was coming. He knew it was coming.
He had watched so much tape and was so prepared that he knew what was coming, and he set Corey Pullig up. When you watch the tape, Zach wasn't anywhere in the picture. And when he brings that ball back, you can see Zach coming, and he caught it just full stride.
I remember.
He didn't miss a step. And I know after the game, the people were like, Zach, it looked like you knew what was happening. He said, well, I did. He said, on 3rd and 5, when you're backed up like that, they're going to throw the HBO.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, somebody said, well, how do you know that? And he said, because I've watched 20 hours of tape, and it was just an amazing time. It was just
that was Zach Thomas.
Well, it was.
Is that not a testament to preparation, though?
Oh, yeah. And it's also, I got to give John Goodner a lot of credit, because he's the one that really taught Zach not to watch tape, but how to watch tape.
Yeah.
And what to look for. And it was just an unbelievable play. I mean, I still have a part of the goalpost. They cut that goalpost up.
Yeah.
They hauled that goalpost all around through Tech Terrace.
I know it.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And we stormed the field, and it was just a great win for us. And but what was really interesting, people don't realize about Zach, is that when we would do inside drill, and so that means you've got the tight end through tackles. You don't have any of the wide receivers, and you're running. It's an inside run drill, and there would be plays where Zach would beat our guy to the hole, running back. And so I would always go over and stand by him, and I'd say, how did you know what we were going to run? He said, well, it was obvious. He said, your left guard, you could see the blood flow in his hands. So you know. Yeah. And so when he sets back, when he's setting back, he said, y'all are going to run the counter. And I could see because his knuckles are white. He said, if he's coming off the ball, he's got more pressure on his hand, and you can tell the difference in the color of the way his fingers are.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is.
But that's what made him, because I'm just telling you guys, I mean, Zach had ability, but to say that guy ended up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, there is ability counted for something, but the intangibles meant so much more.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not even close. It's just an amazing – his case study is amazing what you can do with hard work, and you study the game like that, and commitment and dedication. I've never seen anything like it.
If you ever watched him, what coaches preach, never take a play off. Yeah. I don't think Zach ever took a play off.
No. Well, so here's a great story. So I'm in Dallas recruiting, and Gary Gaines calls me on Wednesday. And Gary and I started at Tech at the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Gary Gaines from Odessa Permium. And so Gary called me and said, so in the old days, we would catch games on Friday, and if we had a Saturday night game, we would stay in Dallas on Friday and watch a couple of high school football games and fly back either late Friday night or early Saturday morning for the game. And so Gary said, can you do me a favor? He said, I'm recruiting this kid, and I just don't know what to do. And I said, well, why don't you know what to do? And he said, and this was Gary's first year as a college coach, and he said, no one else is recruiting them. And so he said, would you fly back and take a look at them and just let me know if I'm doing the right thing? And I said, sure, Gary. So it gave me an excuse to get back, and I was excited about that. So I flew back, and so they were playing at Jones Stadium, and it was a playoff game. And I got there early, and I was talking to Gary, and he said, I'm so sorry. He said, I don't think he's going to play. And I said, what happened? He said, well, I guess he hurt his ankle in practice on Wednesday. And he said, man, I saw him beforehand. I don't think he can play. And I said, well, I'm here, so let's just watch the game. So we watched the game, and it was Pampa, and Zach was playing. And
My gosh.
the opening kickoff, I look up, and he's running down, and you can tell he's got a limp. And he makes a tackle. They set the wedge at about the 20, and he just runs through the wedge. and not only did he play, I mean, he was just dominant on both sides of the football. I mean, played offense, defense, everything. And you could tell he was limping.
Yeah.
And never came out. And I watched about one series of defense. I said, Gary, what is your question? And he said, nobody's recruiting him.
Yeah.
He said, he's getting letters from UTEP and some of the smaller schools.
Yeah.
New Mexico State. And I said, well, that doesn't matter. I said, the kid can play, obviously.
Yeah.
He said, well, I thought so, but I just need someone to verify that. I said, yeah.
So Gary Gaines was instrumental in bringing Zach Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
To Texas.
Yeah. Now, we had Zach on the board.
Yeah.
We knew about Bart. I mean, there was other things involved.
Yeah.
But he could not get over the fact that nobody was recruiting this kid.
Yeah.
And that's something.
And did you and your dad, or separately or together, ever talk to R.C. Slocum about that play, about that game?
I did, yeah. I talked to R.C. about that play, Craig. I had the opportunity to play. They used to have a golf tournament, a Nike golf tournament. And I had a chance to play with my dad the last 20 years out at Pebble Beach. And one night, RC, we were talking about that. I was at the bar, and we were talking with RC. And he said, that kid had such great instincts. I said, yeah, Coach, let me tell you really how it happened.
You telling your story?
I told him he couldn't believe it. He said, that doesn't surprise me. He said, if you watch a kid play, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But he said, I appreciate you telling me that. I guess I appreciate it. I don't know if I do or not. But
So
anyway.
3rd and 4 on the right hash, and they probably didn't run that play again anytime soon.
No. But 70% of the time,
Yeah. That's a testament to wanting to be good. I mean, you did what it took to be good.
Yeah, and he was. I've never been around anybody that had the commitment and just the fire to be the competitive fire to be the very best. I mean,
It's almost like he knows the play when they break the huddle, when they go when they get in their alignment.
So what he knew was he knew that if it's 3rd and 8 and they have the personnel out there, so they're in 3 wides.
Yeah.
He can tell you 65% of the time they're going to run the X cross.
Yeah.
I mean, he could tell you that. And, I mean, he knew based off personnel and formation and down and distance what to expect.
I know you go to pro days and stuff, and everybody says we interviewed him and he loves to play football. I can't imagine anybody loving to play football any more than Zach Thomas.
No, he was so special.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just, guys like him don't come around very often.
Yep.
And we had, obviously we had great players. I mean, we had some great players at Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah.
We had Byron Hanspard and all those kids that came through that were, just top-notch athletes. But we've never had anybody like Zach Thomas.
Hey, Ron, are you still there?
Absolutely.
That's a pretty good story, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the backstory on Zach Thomas.
That's about as much time as you put in on those videos, wasn't it?
Well, you got another soccer game coming up, don't you, Ron?
Yes, sir. All day today.
We wanted to remember that moment against Arizona because that was an iconic moment when they announced your name, and that stadium went just absolutely ballistic. And then you go in there and win the game and the quarterback for the rest of the time. And we're proud of you, buddy.
Well, enjoyed listening to you guys. And, all y'all's comments to Tech were significant as well.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate you. Go win some soccer games. I hate you got to sit out there all day. Bless your heart.
We'll see you later, Ron.
It's soccer and football.
All right.
Sports talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All righty. Hey, McGavick Nissan and Infinity of Lubbock, Brent McGavick, and I just got to notice, and I know you've seen my new car.
I have.
And I've got so many compliments. I've got this Pathfinder Rock Creek. I've got so many compliments on it. It's just a good-looking ride. And if you get to looking when you're driving around town, you'll say, look at all these Nissans everywhere.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job.
Yeah, Brent's a good guy, too. Isn't he?
Oh, my gosh. So great. So helpful. So encouraging and helps the community. And, of course, they've got the Infiniti dealership right there on Spur 327 and the Nissan dealership on Milwaukee Avenue. Yeah, right there by Fuddrucker, 66th and Milwaukee. The other, so get your new car. Go see them. They got great deals. They're always working deals, and they'll work you to get you into a car that you want and make it work for you. The other thing, Connecticut of West Texas, is Keith Peel. You know Keith Peel.
He's just doing a water system for me right now.
At your house.
Yeah, he is.
The one you're building.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, I hear so many great reports on those water systems. Gary just had one installed. We're about to have one installed before long.
You'll love it.
And they just say it just changes your world.
Yeah.
It really does. Connecticut. And they'll come in. Here's the great thing about Keith. He's got plumbers, that'll come do all this. He goes, well, tell me some other things you need fixed, and we'll fix those while we're there. That's what he said. Just, we're there. We'll come, we'll help you.
Did you tell him I need a little help with this stroke? Or?
Yeah, I need lots of help. All right. That's Connecticut, West Texas. You'll love doing business with them. And they got those tankless water heaters, too.
Yep.
Are you getting one of those?
We are, actually, yeah.
I'm telling you. How do you have hot water all the time?
Instant hot water. How does that work?
I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. Just say it sounds good.
They do that. All right.
Okay, Rick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We were talking about Gary Gaines and, watching Zach and so forth. As you look back on your recruiting, who's a guy that nobody else thought Mike could play and that you stayed with and ended up being a pretty good player that you're very proud of, the fact that you got him to come to Tech and then he panned out to be pretty good? I know there's probably several of them, but I just wondered if you had any one particular kid that kind of jumps out at you.
Well, back when we started, and I recruited Dallas for 20 years.
Yep.
And we had I'd been working really hard to try to get into Dallas Carter. And back then, getting into Dallas Carter was not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, we had never really recruited anybody at that point, on a consistent basis. And Freddie James was the head coach. And it was, what you had to really, it took years to kind of establish yourself and gain his trust, because he ran recruiting. I mean, he's the one, when kids committed, he made sure kids stayed to their commitments. If you had to get a kid to visit, you had to go through Freddie James, and he went through their family. So, getting to him was really, really important. And when we started out, there was and I mentioned him earlier, there was an outside linebacker named Sean Banks, and Sean was a good, really good player. I thought he was outstanding, but he was not being heavily recruited at the start. And I just, identified him, and I thought he would be a great kid to kind of get in with, because I thought he had a potential to be a good player, and he was even a better person, and so I recruited him early, and I got him on him early. And that made all the difference in the world to him, because he was not getting anything. And I think he appreciated me recognizing that he had a chance. We offered him early. And at the end, of course, a lot of people came in on him.
Yeah.
As Dallas Carter went through the playoffs, he was the defensive player in Dallas that year. And he was he was the guy that made Carter. I think Carter played in the quarterfinals, I think, that year. And he was a dominant player on the defense, and everybody offered him at the end. But he committed to us on his visit, and he stuck with it, and he wouldn't visit those other places. And he's a kid I was proud that we were able to identify early, and we got on and we stuck with, because he's kind of the guy that set the tone for us in Dallas, in South Dallas. And getting him not only impacted our ability to get other players at Carter, but it opened doors at DeSoto, Waxahachie, Madison. All those other schools, Pinkston, all those Dallas Lincoln, all those other schools that had outstanding players, because everybody appreciated Sean Banks and what type of person he was, and he's just a great kid. In fact, I got to tell you a quick story. He was a fireman in Dallas, and I've never been around anybody like Sean Banks. He had He's the strongest person I've ever seen. And so
he was stronger than that guy that was lifting weights that day in that room.
Mark Henry.
Yeah,
I don't know if he was that strong, but they were different.
Yeah.
Sean had really long arms, but he could bench press. I mean, he with these super long arms, he consistently bench pressed over 400 pounds, which was just crazy
for long arm people.
And he had really long arms, and so he ended up being a firefighter in Dallas. And he was recognized as a firefighter of the year in Dallas because there was a fire that he got to, and it was an apartment fire, and he could not get onto the first floor. He's on the second floor, and he could hear kids below in the apartment below him. And he didn't have any tools with him. And he took his fist and knocked a hole through the floor and raised these kids were up on a table and raised them up and got them out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Broke his knuckles. His hand was in a cast, but he saved these kids' lives. And I mean, that's just the type of kid he is.
Former Red Raider linebacker.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So
story.
A couple years after that, he was also in he worked on an ambulance and emergency services, and he was the first person on the scene on a truck rollover. He rolled the truck back off of the guy by himself, so the guy could get out from underneath the truck. I mean, he's
strong.
It's strong. I've never seen anybody like him. He was and such a great person, just a great kid and a great person.
Where is he now?
He's in Dallas. He's still a firefighter.
Is he coming back to Lubbock?
He does occasionally.
Let's get him on the show, man.
I know. We should. Yeah,
you need to get him on our. So you and him, y'all come in together.
Okay, Rick.
We'll have more fun.
The opposite of that, you spent a lot of time recruiting blank, and you didn't get him. A lot of time. I mean, people don't understand. You start on these kids when they're sophomores back then, or even freshmen, and you stay with them for 2 or 3 years, and you feel good about it, but then you don't get him.
There was a linebacker out of Dallas Lincoln that I started recruiting as a sophomore, and I started recruiting when no one else was recruiting him. Mm-hmm. And he ended up being the most highly recruited kid in Dallas that year, and he had committed to us. And I lost him to Texas A&M the night before signing him. Yeah.
Did that happen a lot?
Not a lot. I was pretty upset with that because I didn't feel like that everything was above ground on that. Yeah. Just to be honest with you, and it pissed me off.
Yeah.
But he was a great player and a great kid, and he just told me. He said, "Coach, I just can't do it." And after he told me about it, I understood why, and I just said, "I can't do anything about that. I understand." But I'd been recruiting him for 2 years, and he had a hard time telling me he wasn't coming. But he had to make a decision what was best for his family at the time. So
it's kind of like, Craig. When these recruiting, this is tough work. There was a guy, John Mize at Texas. He'd come out here and just live over at Estacada.
Yeah.
John,
he'd just live over there. Got Jerry Gray.
Yeah.
And but this was Corky Oglesby. This is who Corky. If I think Rick Bullock's mama said, "Would you please sign with Tech so he'll go home?" Rick, Corky just move in.
Well, I don't know how many stories you hear about Switzer hiding underneath a bed while the other coach was talking to him, and and the OU coaches literally going to someplace and staying there for forever.
Well, so Hanspard had committed to us, had committed to me. It's kind of a crazy story, but he had committed to me, but no one knew it, and I couldn't tell my dad because he still had 2 visits left. So, and so I'd go in these meetings, and they'd say,
you mean he committed you? He was going to go 2 more?
Because he promised them.
He promised or something?
He promised. Well,
he's a strong Christian guy.
Oh, he's a great Christian guy.
He really is.
And so he just told me, he said, "Coach, I'm going to come to Texas Tech," but he said, "I promised these people I'm going to visit."
He's going to honor that.
And I'm going to honor that.
Yeah.
And so he said, "But you can't tell anybody, not even your dad." And so,
oh my gosh,
the night
is Spike asking you?
Oh yeah, everybody's like, and so that night we were out in front of Byron's house, and Bobby Bowden's in front of us, and Osborne's behind us, and so that's the last night that you can get the head coaches in to see these kids. And he had just come back from Notre Dame
my
that day.
goodness.
And so we're all lined up out there to go in to see him. And I'll never forget, my dad said, what are we doing here? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, there's 100 other places we should be rather than here because we have no chance. And I said, well,
you already knew you had him.
I already knew we had him. So I'm not going to tell you what happened, but we went in, and Spike started his spiel, and Byron said, he said, Coach, I've already made up my mind. And my dad, I could already tell he was like,
yeah. Kind of dropped his can.
yeah.
And he was going to say, I told you, Rick.
And so Byron said, I'm going to come to Texas Tech, and I can't say on the radio what my dad said. But Byron looked over at me and he said, you didn't tell him, did you? And I said, no, I didn't tell him. He said, thank you, Coach. I said, you're welcome. I said, what would you have done if I would have told him? He said, I wouldn't have come. So anyway.
How about that?
Yeah.
Build that trust.
Yeah.
Build that trust.
He could tell Spike had no clue. Spike thought he was out of the deal.
No, because my dad, what he said was so outside of what my dad. I mean, he's like, Byron, I can't say on the radio. And it was so funny because Byron's parents were laughing and we laughed. And Byron looked at him and said, you didn't tell him, did you? I said, no, I didn't tell him.
That's awesome.
So,
what a good recruiting story.
That is.
But in the old days, that Sunday night was the last night you could see them. And so if you had somebody that you were really wanted, you saved that Sunday night.
The head coach is going.
Yeah, the head coach is going to close the deal.
So you had Bobby Bowden there.
Osborne.
And Tom Osborne.
We had guys lined up outside. There were 4 cars waiting. Yeah. And so we didn't have designated times. They just said, just get here Sunday night and we'll work everybody in. So we got in line.
That proved to be a pretty good recruit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that turned out to be a fantastic recruit.
Yeah, I did. I kind of, Byron got blamed for some things that he really didn't have a lot of control over at Tech, and he kind of got a bad reputation because he's the farthest from that.
Oh, I had a lot of respect for him.
If you knew Byron Hanspard now and what he's accomplished and everything he's done, I still talk to him once or twice a month. I'm so proud of him.
Well, there's another one we need to get in here on the show.
You should. You would be so proud. He's got his own church now. He's head of security for DeSoto Public Schools.
Yeah.
He's a minister. He's just he
I had him a little bit with him on FCA.
Yeah.
When he was here.
He's so good. He's such a positive influence. He's such a good Christian man. I mean, I'm just so proud of him.
Had a son, went to Baylor.
He did.
Right?
Yeah. And his sons have not been the athlete that Byron was, but they've all gone Division I and competed, but they didn't. Byron, he's the best athlete I've ever recruited by far. I mean, he was just
tremendous.
He was there's still a handful of guys that have rushed over 2,000 yards a season. So,
but what a great guy.
Oh, he's just yeah. I mean, I'm more proud of what he's accomplished outside of football than what he's accomplished on the field. But
that's saying something.
Yeah, he's a great.
Well, Donnie Baker, Gary's former brother-in-law.
Yeah,
he said, hearing Rick say about recruiting in Dallas all these years, wondered if he knew my cousin, Norman Jett, the head coach at Dallas South Oak Cliff.
Yeah,
you knew him.
I did. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
It was.
Yeah, that was. I don't even know, but I was actually at Rice.
You were at Rice when you were
when I knew him.
So let's talk about you were at Tech, Arizona, and Rice. Was that
and Temple?
And Temple.
Yeah.
Okay. Was Temple your first job?
No, I was at Rice. I went to Rice as a graduate assistant.
Okay.
I stayed there for 6 years. I got my master's, and I don't know if y'all remember Clovis Hale.
Oh yeah.
Clovis Hale was on that staff.
Line coach.
Doyle Parker was on that staff.
At Rice?
Yeah. Ray Auburn was the head coach.
Yeah.
Carlos Maynard was on that staff. Yeah.
So you just said, "Come on, guys, let's go someplace else."
Well, they said we have a GA position.
Yeah.
And would you be interested? And back then at Rice, you had to.
Did you know them prior to taking the GA?
Oh yeah. Well, I grew up with the Parkers.
Yeah.
We grew up together.
Yeah.
I mean, our families went from we were like gypsies together.
You know what's the funniest story to me? Not the funniest, but a really good story is when Spike and Doyle Parker first met.
Yeah.
They were coaching JV basketball.
Yeah.
JV
at Big Spring?
Where was it? Ballinger? Or?
Eastland.
Yeah.
Eastland. They were JV and they were battling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've lost, of course, Spike, everybody knows, but we lost Doyle Parker Lost Carlos Maynard.
Yeah, lost some great guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but those guys were all at Rice. And back then you had to pass what was called the GRE, which was Graduate Requirement Exam or whatever it was. And so it was pretty hard to get in to be a GA. But anyway, I was able to do it and stayed there and had a great run. I was there with Ray Auburn, Watson Brown, and Jerry Burnt.
Yeah, Watson Brown.
Yeah. And
He became the head coach at
yeah, he went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt.
Yeah. And then he went to UAB.
Mac Brown's brother.
Mac Brown's brother.
Yeah. So you go to Temple after that?
Went to Temple for a year. Yeah, 1999. So
Is that in the Philly? Where is it?
it's in Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, Temple is. We actually lived in New Jersey, and I drove to work to Philly.
That's a tough place for an old country boy like you.
I've got some pretty good stories about that for another time. But
You need to go. Can you stay? Or
I can stay for a little while.
All right, good. I know your boys in town, your son's in town, and we appreciate you coming in. It's fun. Just sitting around just talking, telling these old stories like this.
We're going to talk about Makovic in Arizona. Was that who was at Arizona?
Yeah.
More good stories coming up here on Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby. Craig Wells. Rick Dykes is here.
Sports Talk conversations with a good laugh mixed in. This is the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right, I was talking about Las Brisas, 114th at the biggest where you'll find them, and you will love it. And I do want to tell you about another great company here in town from the scratch, the Kinsey family, Lubbock Truck Sales. And what they built out on the Slayton Highway will blow you away. It's a beautiful facility, state-of-the-art, all the big names in trucking that you're looking for, huge service department. And this is something that I didn't really know till recently, but they do. They service these buses. You know, they do trucks.
Yeah.
But all these schools have their own buses now.
Yeah.
And they're about the only people around that can service them.
Yeah.
And they've got the facilities and everything to do it. And, of course, they're huge supporters of Texas Tech. They're the ones that provide the truck every year for the football team and every year for the going band from Raiderland. And they just provide them.
Yeah, James and Cody do a great job.
That's
and they're great
unbelievable.
supporters.
Oh, they are.
And the best people, and they're honest, and, I mean, they're the best.
Good folks out there at Lubbock Truck Sales, and you'll be glad that if you got anything, I don't get many trucks, but the big ones like
If you
that.
had one, by
If I'm going to get one, that's where I'm going, because they are the only place to go, Lubbock Truck Sales. But, if you drive around and you go down to I-20, there's a bunch of people that have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
A bunch. Especially down the Permian Basin.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Just go about 70 and you'll see them going right by you.
I know it. Anyway, Rick Dykes is here. We're just telling old stories and recruiting stories about Rick and his dad, Spike. And, I loved your mama, too. We all lived out there in Whisperwood.
Yeah.
And I'd see him walking, Spike and Sharon be walking around out there. It's just a great family. Sonny, we hadn't talked about Sonny yet. We need to. He's at TCU, the head coach. Yep. And took him to the national championship game. You look at that, Rick, and go, that's my little brother.
Well, so I had a chance to follow him the last few weeks in that. And, not only follow him, I mean, I rode on the bus with him to and from the hotels, and I mean, I was there.
You were part of it.
Sonny asked me to come and kind of get involved, and I did. I told him I would do that, and I'll never forget after TCU beat Michigan, and we were riding back, and Sonny looked at me and he said, "What the hell are we doing here?
How'd this happen?"
And I was just like, I don't know, because they had plans. He had a flight to leave the next day to go out of town. So he said, "Can you believe this?" I said, "No, I cannot." And anyway, it just goes to show you, though, when you get on a run like they were on, and you have Sonny did a really good job of not coming into a situation and trying to make a bunch of wholesale changes, and he figured out what the strengths of that football team were, and he played to those strengths. And obviously they had a great quarterback. That was just he was the heart and soul of that football team. And
he was one tough hombre.
He was such a competitor, and I mean, it was just they just had a great run, and they had some breaks. They got some breaks along the way, and they were able to capitalize. And then, but I'll tell you, I got there of course, I was on the sideline for the national championship game, and I watched Georgia warm up, and I was just like, it was a different. It was just different. You could tell. I mean, it was just entirely different, and I said, I just don't know how that their defensive line were so different than any defensive line that TCU had faced that year. I mean, they were just in their depth at the defensive line and their wide receivers, and of course they had Brock Bowers at tight end. I mean, they were just loaded, and I was concerned that if things got off to a bad start, that it could get turned around in a hurry, and it did. But still, what TCU was able to accomplish, I think it gave everybody
we got a chance.
Hope that this. Why can't that be us?
Why not us?
Why not us?
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it was a great run, and he's done a good job. They were 9-4 last year, and they didn't have a very good year after the national championship year, and for a couple different reasons. But they got it turned back around last year, and I think they have a competitive football team this year.
They do.
I like their quarterback, Josh Hoover. I think Josh is really a really good quarterback. He still occasionally will make a throw, and you kind of go, wow, what are you doing, Josh? And
what are you thinking?
Everybody does that, but to me, he's as good a quarterback as there is around. I mean, his stats speak for themselves, and they're better on defense. And, I would love to see Tech and TCU in the Big 12 championship game.
Well, wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be so much fun. And
I meant to ask you, did he let BB ride the bus on the national championship?
No, we tried to keep BB away from the bus.
I bet you did. BB would have an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, Sonny?
Yeah, she did. But anyway, it was a great run, and it was fun. And
that was fun.
But I tell you, this is the most excited I've been for a Tech football team in a long time.
Me too.
I agree.
I tell you, I can't get over – it looks like the defense, and I hate to say this and go back because it kind of sounds bad, but it looks like the way we played defense in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're running to the football. We're playing with extreme effort. We have stopped the run. That's why I feel so good about our football team, is because if you can get people one-dimensional like Houston is going to be tonight, if they can't line up and run the football, you have a huge advantage. And I don't think tonight that Houston's going to be able to. We're going to turn them into a passing, one-dimensional offense, and if they do that with our pass rush, we're going to be in great shape.
Yeah.
And then just the balance we have on offense. I mean, this is the best football team. Our special teams look solid.
Yeah.
I think we have an outstanding coaching staff.
Joey has been really great for Texas Tech.
He has
been. And, everybody gives him this high school coach deal. I'm telling you, what he brings inside of him is the intangibles that we need, and he's got all these contacts because he was a high school coach.
Yeah, and I tell you, for somebody that grew up, going from Eastland to Coahoma to Ballinger to
that's where Spike
Belton
came
to
from.
Big Spring, and I mean, I understand, and until you've done that, you don't really understand. I mean, you have to be in those situations and experience losing and experience being in positions where you don't have the best football team, but you got to find a way to win. And Coach McGuire's done a great job of that, and he's, I love his optimism.
Me too.
I think his positiveness rubs off on our players, and I tell you, I'm so excited about this season. I had somebody tell me, but we're going to lose a guy this week. And I said, why would you even say that? I don't. This is not. This is a different football team, a different time, a different year, a different strategy. I mean, I like our chances. I think we've got a chance to have a really, really good football team. And I'll tell you, I'll be disappointed if we're not, one of the top 12 playing in the playoffs. I think we have that type of football team.
Too. Rick, after the Utah game, I thought to myself, linebacking core, defensive line, defensive backs, offense, we have an injury and somebody goes in. We had all these things. That may have been as good a game of a Texas Tech squad on every side of the ball as I think I've seen in a long time. We were good.
We were good.
We were just good.
And to go up to Utah and dominate because they have a really experienced, mature offensive line. I mean, they got two kids up there that they think have a chance to be drafted in the first couple of rounds. And to go up and just shut them down like we did is – I mean, it's so impressive. And I don't think anybody in the national media thought we had a chance to go up and do that. I just
everybody picked Utah.
I know.
Everybody.
I was crazy because I thought I've seen this at practice a couple of times, and I've obviously been at the games or watched the games, and I just think that we have a chance to have a really, really dominant defense. And when you can, like I said earlier, when you can force people to be one-dimensional and you can take away the run like we've been able to do up to this point, it's such a huge advantage for your football team. And I don't know, I'm just really excited about our team this year.
You know what's encouraging to me is defensive line. We'll have 3 guys come in and 3 guys go out, and you don't see any difference in the play.
We haven't had that.
We haven't had that depth.
We haven't.
Same thing with the secondary.
We have depth at just think about our depth at quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, we have depth at key positions where, it's not, it's been difficult because it's hard to the quality football teams that are so good are the teams that have the depth in key positions.
Well, that's SEC has always. That's what they've lived on.
That's right.
Offensive and defensive line depth. I mean, and that's the difference between the SEC and any other conference has been those offensive line play, front play, and
they've got backups there.
And
good.
I think we're there. I think I'm real happy with the way we're progressing, and I just saw it the first 3 games at home, and then I saw us play a really good team on the road, and I just think we're going to get better as the year goes on.
I do too.
And
I know the guys are excited, and I think we have a really good attitude. I think that we're proud of what we've accomplished, but we don't feel like we're anywhere near where we need to be. And I think Coach McGuire's done a good job about impressing that we have a chance to get a lot better. I didn't think, I hated that the week off kind of fell when it did.
I did too.
But, it gives us a chance to regroup and kind of sit back and look at the first quarter of the season and to take account and to kind of say, man, we have a chance to have a really, really good football team.
One of the things that, and Ron Reeves and I have talked about this, because Ron's been at 3 or 4 practices too. And of course, Joey, for these past lettermen that come out, and you, Rick, and we could go out there, but you're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome. In fact, Ron said they asked him to come to the quarterback room and meet with the quarterbacks. And you're like, who does that? And here's the thing I was going to say, and this really stood out to Ron too. He goes, what I've noticed is that, you go this NIL, all right, we go get these guys from all over everywhere. He's been over here playing, he's played there. And he said, you can't believe the camaraderie and chemistry they have, the way that the coaches and Joey in particular, he just brings them together.
And there's a lot of teams fighting that right now.
There are.
Yeah.
And I tell you, people on the outside don't understand how difficult that is. You're bringing kids in that are competing with kids that have been in your program for a year, 2, 3 years, and all of a sudden you're paying them money, and then you want them to
buy in
and be in the
buddies,
to be in the same be in the same meeting rooms, and those things just don't fall into place. And that's why I think that I think Sonny's done a terrific job of that at TCU, and I think that they don't have the NIL like Tech has, but still he's been able to get that buy-in, and Coach McGuire has obviously done that here. I mean, it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just fall into place. And it takes real leadership to get that done.
It's the brand.
And I think we have that.
We've got it.
We do.
Our brand. And I give Patrick Mahomes credit.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes has been unbelievable. Oberg. This brand that we have at Texas Tech, I'm blown away by what's happening all over the country.
Damn Oberg, if he'd have lost Sunday, we'd have won the Ryder Cup.
It's his fault.
What is he doing?
Think about America.
But anyway, I think we have a real shot. People thought, I know we talked to them, people thought I was crazy when I told those guys, I said, I think we're going to get after Utah.
Yeah.
Guys looked at me like, have you lost your mind? But it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's just different. And I think tonight you'll have a chance to see that as well.
I like that because he used those same words to describe the University of Georgia. Yeah. It's just different.
Yeah,
and we're kind of there now, aren't we? And we're getting there.
We're getting there. I'm not going to say we're 100% there, but we're definitely on the right track.
That way.
We're moving that way. Yeah,
it's fun. It is fun.
It's definitely a different atmosphere that you feel like around this team. If you're watching football and you're saying this team is good, but this team, you just feel like they're going to rise to the occasion, whatever's thrown in front of them.
Yeah.
And I think they've also done a good job, Rick, of Utah this week, Houston this week, and then we'll take them, one at a time. And that's coach speak, but I think they're living that. I really do.
I agree with you, Craig, and that's a great point. I think that, we have identified and know. I mean, it's a rocky road that the season is.
It's hard.
It is hard. And you really, good coaches kind of divide the season up and they take it into quarters or thirds or whatever. And, you talk about goals, but you don't talk about season goals. You talk about goals in this quarter and goals in this third. And these are the things we have to accomplish. And our level of expectations are just different, That's –
and everybody's saying, well, you got to beat Arizona State. If you don't beat Utah, if you don't beat Kansas, if you don't do what you're supposed, or Houston this week, then that Arizona State's not going to mean anything.
Yeah, well, this league is so competitive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't. You take a week off, and anybody in this league can beat you. I mean, if we don't come prepared tonight, Houston will beat us.
They're 4-0.
I know.
I mean, they're not a slouch team.
No, and that Willie Fritz.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Willie go way back, and he's as good a football coach as there is in America. I'm just telling you, the guy can coach football. I mean, what he accomplished at Tulane, we were buddies when he was at Sam Houston. I mean, the guy can coach football.
Yeah.
And if you think that we're just going to roll off today and beat those guys, because he will definitely have them ready to play.
Yeah. I like our team. I like the fact that I think we've got good secondary play, we've got good offensive line play, and I'm really bullish on our team atmosphere. I really am.
I am too. And we've been fortunate injury-wise so far.
Yep.
Iowa State just lost two of their starting corners, both starting corners last week, and so you got to have a little luck there too.
I don't know what play it was, and it was Kent State or what, but one play we were breaking a run down the home sideline, and we had the entire offensive line almost running right with our running back, and I thought, hey, that's extra effort. That's coming from here. It's not, it just doesn't happen, know. Yeah. And because against Kent State or somebody, you don't have to do that, but that's the difference maker, I think, is the little things.
Intangibles.
Yep.
You've been listening to the Sports Talk with Thetford and Ashby podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live Saturday mornings from 9 to noon on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.